Hello friends, in continuation to my previous talk on the radiographic signs seen on intravenous urography in patients of PUG obstruction, this is a part 2 for the same information, and we were talking about that in the radiographic signs in IVU, you will see parenchymal signs, you will see calyceal signs, you will see pelvic signs, and you will see some ureteric signs, and we have already done with parenchymal signs in our previous lecture, and we'll focus now on calyceal signs, pelvic signs, and ureteric signs. The calyceal signs, these are seen during the late nephrographic phase, and they often persist in the later films also. The first calyceal sign to observe is the lacunae. Is there a lacunae seen in this film? These lacunae represent spaces in the renal sinus that communicate with the collecting system via a fornicel tear. The lacunae appear as sharply demarcated pockets of contrast material at that point. If you see here in this picture, from the minor calyx, you notice a diverticulum kind of outpouching, and these are small communications which form because in case of obstruction you often get a fornicel tear, and because of fornicel tear the localized urinoma forms, and this urinoma gets later on epithelized. This is a small minor diverticulum kind of thing which is located in renal sinus. They are called lacunae. Look at this picture of hydronephrosis and you notice 3 lacunae in this film. Next thing that you should observe in the dilated calyx is the contrast material which is settling towards the bottom of the calyx. These radiographs are done in supine position, so the contrast will settle in the bottom of the dilated calyx like a puddle. In the bottom you contrast, and on top you have a non-opaque urine. I'd like you to look at this picture again, and I showed you this as bubble thing. Look at this point in the center. In the center you will see a more density of contrast, and you see a similar density of contrast here, and you see similar density of contrast in the top part. This is the accumulation of contrast in the bottom of the dilated calyx, and this is what is known as puddle sign. What is puddle? Puddle is a very common thing that forms falling rain in the ground, and in the bottom of the pit you see the mud, but in the top of the pit you see a clear rainwater. This is puddle. And you have something similar in the dilated calyx created by contrast settling towards the bottom. In this film you notice by these arrows the crescent sign, and by the top arrows the puddle sign. Puddles and crescents. When you have too many puddles visible, when you have a sufficient contrast in the dilated calyx, each puddle looks like a ball, right? And then this is called a ball pyelogram. And look at this here. This is the contrast settling in the dilated calyx. I also want you to understand one more thing. When somebody lies supine in a hydronephrotic kidney, the superior calyx is the most dependent calyx, and therefore the contrast tends to settle in the highest concentration in the superior calyx. I tried to show you this with the increasing density of grey tone here. This is superior calyx, upper middle calyx, lower middle calyx, and the inferior calyx. The contrast in the inferior calyx is lesser as compared to the superior calyx. Here in this picture you will see the crescent and you will see the ball pyelogram. In this patient, some films of intravenous urography have been done in a standing position, and you see now instead of layering towards the bottom, here they are layering in the inferior pole, in the inferior part of the calyx, because patient is standing, so giving like a saucer kind of appearance to you in these films. Let's move to pyelographic signs. You have to now concentrate on renal pelvis. When you see the renal pelvis, in PUG obstruction you will notice that there often occurs a kind of rotation in the long axis of the kidney. Sometimes pelvis tends to come forward, the calyx go backward, or in other patients pelvis goes backward and calyces come forward. And this rotational normality happens because kidney grows over a period of time and it takes place wherever it can expand. I want you to notice that this is the normal axis of the kidney in reference to the vertebral body. This is vertebral body and this is the kidney pelvis and the calyx. A is the anterior calyx and P is the posterior calyx. In a normal cross-sectional anatomy, when patient lying supine, the contrast will layer down more in the posterior calyx and less in the anterior calyx, and I tried to show this by changing tone of the grey color here. If the kidney rotates little anti-clockwise, now you appreciate that anterior and posterior calyx are lying almost at a similar level, so they have same density of contrast. But if the kidney rotates more, then you will notice that the anterior calyx is more opacified than the posterior calyx. So the point I am trying to make is, by looking at the relative difference in the opacity of contrast in the anterior group of calyx and posterior group of calyx, you can have an idea about the rotational normality of the pelvis. You can, in a similar manner, have a clockwise rotation like this or like this. When you have this kind of rotation, the anterior calyx will probably not be seen at all. Posterior calyx will have some contrast, but you will have more contrast coming down towards the pelvis. So what is visible more, anterior calyx, posterior calyx or the pelvis? On that basis, by looking at relativity of all these three, like here, if you know all these three alignments in anti-clockwise rotation or in clockwise rotation, then you can have an idea about the rotational normality. Next thing that you should focus is the shape of dilated pelvis. Look at this picture. This is like egg ovoid shape of the pelvis. This is rounded shape like an apple. This is a shape which is like an inverted pear. This is like a papaya. So you can imagine a vegetable and you can then see a shape of the renal pelvis. Renal pelvis differs in everybody, but then this observation is important from the point of view of planning the surgery. That is why you have to note what is the shape and what is the size of renal pelvis. Look at this, another shape. Look at this, another shape. I want you to appreciate posterior calyx and anterior calyx and see what is the alignment of the kidney. Next, you should move to the ureteric signs. In most cases of PUG obstruction, the ureter is either not visualized or is partially seen. And this is because of obstruction at pelvic junction. The contrast stays back in the pelvis and calyx, and that's the kind of picture that you get. But in some patients, contrast will trickle down in the narrow ureter and come down the lower ureter, and you may see a narrowed upper ureter. See in this picture, the pelvis is showing dilatation, the calyx are showing dilatation. It is ectopically located in kidney, but you can make out the narrow ureter at PUJ. In some patients of PUJ obstruction, you will see the dilated lower ureter. You will see a big hydronephrotic kidney on this left side, and you focus on the lower ureter. This is the dilated ureter. Now, obviously, this is a case of reflux, which has led to secondary pelvic junction obstruction. So, if I were to give you a summary of IVU signs, which I want you to see in these films, is look at renal morphology and observe, is there a renomegaly? What is the residual parenchymal thickness? Look at the parenchyma with more details. Do you see a crescent, or do you see a shell sign or rim sign? Look into the calyx. Do you see a puddle sign? Do you see a lacunae sign? Then come towards the pelvis. Do you see a rotational change? What is the shape of the renal pelvis? Then come to the area of ureter and see, is the ureter visualized partially, or is the upper ureter narrow? What is the length of narrow ureter? What is the caliber of the lower ureter? So if you see in a systematic fashion, like the way I mentioned, you will probably notice very, very valuable radiographic signs. I must mention here that there are some disadvantages of intravillous urography when used in patients of PUG obstruction. Foremost being that this will be useful only in the well-functioning kidneys. Radiation exposure limits its use for only adults, mainly men, because ladies get gonadal exposure, and children you should not use it. In giant hydronephrotic kidney, the contrast dilution is an issue. Even in well-preserved kidneys, the amount of contrast that will come in the dilated calyx, dilated pelvis will not be sufficient enough to opacify it. So thank you very much for patiently watching. In case you have any clarification or question, you can write to me on my email, drdallela24@gmail.com. Thank you.